It's almost 2019, and the player base is dwindling. But it seems like for every person who cries dead game, there's another person who's still playing and having fun. I'm certainly having fun still. I really enjoy my invasions. I even enjoy PvE on occasion. And I enjoy making these videos because, well, they highlight what I do well, and they help me to improve. I don't actually consider myself to be really good at this game. If anything, I'm probably average, maybe just above average. But I'm still improving. Part of the reason why I upload is to help myself improve. And that's kind of what I want to talk to you guys about today. What I look at whenever I watch an invasion back that I've recorded, my strategic ideas, the tactics that I employ, and the tools that I use. And if that interests you, then keep watching. And who knows? Maybe it'll help you improve a little bit too. These are my stats so that you know what I'm working with. It's a quality build, pretty straightforward. Not a whole lot that's unique about it. I use the Black Knight glaive, the Black Knight sword, and the Lothric Knight straight sword for my damage, and I will swap out the Estus ring for the cat ring or whatever ring I feel is necessary in the moment. But yeah, it's simple but a very effective build. I think this first clip is a fine example of over-aggression, where I'm overly committing to an attack, I'm being too greedy, I am staying in one place for too long, and getting punished for it. Four players versus me. Just me, all by my lonesome. Got a little bit of PvE to help me, but no co-invader, nothing like that. And this is a rough situation. Some people would call it as rough of a situation as can happen in the Dark Souls series. 4 players versus 1 is not what most people would call enjoyable. But me, I like situations like this. I like trying to play smarter than my opponents. And that's immediately what I set about doing. I've already pulled them down the stairs far enough to pull the Herald Knights into the fight, and my goal is, in order to create a little bit of separation and use that separation to my advantage and eliminate a phantom or, God willing, the host. I know the Herald Knights will give me the opportunities that I'm looking for, and this is my first opportunity, but I overcommit, nearly get crushed by both a Herald Knight and a Great Club. Would have been game over. I think I see another opportunity, and I overcommit. Fortunately, I don't get punished too severely, even though the Cell Sword definitely take a decent chunk out of my health. But I managed to avoid the Great Club and losing all of my health in that blunder. I see another opportunity, and I overcommit, and I get crushed by a Herald Knight. I see another opportunity. I go for the backstab, instead of prioritizing my own health. Get chased down by the Cell Swords, and that's all she wrote. My over-aggression in a extremely difficult situation is what got me killed. The tactics that you use in an invasion are the little tips and tricks that you've picked up either from watching other people play or from playing yourself, the things that you've noticed. One of the more well-known tactics within the game is the Barker Bomb Bait. If you have a parry tool, you throw a firebomb or a lightning urn, the opponent will roll and then do a rolling attack, giving you ample time to parry them. Now, my strategic ideas of using the Herald Knights to separate the enemy group into smaller, more manageable sizes was a sound plan. The tactics that I used in order to accomplish that were flawed, as we saw. This time around, it's a very different fight. First off, I exercise restraint and don't immediately attack the solo host, and instead get a good view of what exactly it is that I'm up against before coming up with my strategic idea and then my tactics for accomplishing that. First off, it becomes readily apparent that these two don't really want to separate too much. And second off, it becomes readily apparent that I am fighting a Freed Scythe. And Freed Scythes tend to want to do one of two things, and become fairly easy to punish because of that. So my strategic idea is punish the Freed Scythe whenever I can, and my tactical idea is do it with spacing and firebombs. If I can bait a little bit of aggression, like for example I go right in and bait a little bit of aggression in order to punish that aggression in turn. My strategic idea is kill the Freed Scythe because that weapon is bad. My tactical idea was bait the aggression. And the tactics that you use can vary pretty greatly. Like for example, the tactic I'm currently using of two-handed straight sword poke meta. Thank you, Saint Riot, for introducing me to that. Is a valid one. Use the tactics that make sense for what the weapons and tools that are available to you. My Soul Level 91 build primarily uses the Crystal Zweihander and the Crystal Hand Axe in the offhand. I have a poise option and I have a fast roll catching machine. It also allows for pretty good mix-up potential, and in general is just a very solid build that I enjoy using quite a bit. The Estus ring is the ring that I will swap if I need to wear something else. So I see the Phantom being summoned in, and I have a pretty good idea. I have a pretty good idea of where they are, so I tear off in that direction. I have the Clonathy ring on, which lets me get there a little bit faster since I don't have to wait as long for my stamina to recover. And, yeah. I notice that little Hollow and Ring Knight are still alive. I see a little damage bar as I came up the stairs, and I see a red friend, so I know there's a dried finger active. So I know there's at least 3, if not 4, and my overall strategic idea remains more or less the same. Try and keep up the pressure by trading positions. If I'm not in, then he's in, and if he's not in, I'm in. I see that he has gone to the Great Bow, so I try and back him up with some firebombs. If I can keep them stun locked with a firebomb, paired with the Ring Knight and the Great Bow, we should be able to get some damage on. Unfortunately, I eat 2 Chaos Bed Vestiges to the face, which is my first big mistake of this invasion. Fortunately, my co-invader is covering for my mistakes and backing up the Ring Knight while I go heal. And I go back to my previous tactic. The Ring Knight is spent, and these guys are reset back to neutral, so I back up into a more wide open space where it's less dangerous for me. And I'm just trying to let my co-invader do his work with the great bow. I'm trying to keep their attention. I'm trying to keep them from getting to him, but I see that he switched back to Gales. So my goal is now to keep the 2v1, let him fight one Phantom or one host, and I'll deal with the other two. I take a bit of damage, I need to retreat to heal, but now we're in a pincer. If we can keep this pincer up where he's fighting only one person and I have the 2v1, our chances of winning go up pretty well. But I'm an idiot, and I make a grave mistake. I see that the host is getting low on health, and I decide to help my friend with the chase down, but just end up getting in the way and eliminating that chance for victory. It was a grave tactical error in order to... that actually just defeated my strategy altogether. I should not have gone to help. I should have let him fight the host solo and dealt with the two Phantoms. But now that that's done, it's time to try and salvage the rest of this invasion. So I notice that they are also thinking of Estus conservation, since they're using healing miracles. I'm out of Estus, so I have to be very careful about being hit as I get hit. And I unfortunately queue an extra R1 and get taken out by the Katana Phantom. My apologies, Other Red. I made several grave errors during that invasion. Fortunately, Backstab Jesus is merciful, and revenge porn exists. I immediately re-invade the same group because, of course, they're dried-fingered. And I saw damage numbers, so I know that they're a lot closer than they were before. I equipped the Captain Ring because I might need to escape off the platform. And as I come up, I see a white Phantom chasing a red. I probably should have used the hand axe, since, that's what it's there for, a small, fast weapon in order to catch people off guard with. But I didn't, so missed opportunity there. Now, their overall tactical and strategic idea seems to be use their range advantage of spells in order to harass us and convince and bait us in order to come outside. But I see a lone gold Phantom who doesn't like the turtle clerics and makes for easy prey. And now it's a much more manageable 3v2. First it seems like they're coming in, but they quickly retreat right back outside. Still not liking the turtle clerics, I suppose. So we're trying to harass them with bombs, and they're trying to harass us with spells, and each of us are trying to bait the other into coming into the each other's domain, and neither of us are particularly taking the bait. And I'm starting to think and try and figure out a way that I can kind of take advantage of this situation, or else convince them to play further into level, get some help from the PvE, something. And they just don't seem to be willing to do anything. So I decided to say, to hell with it. They're trying to bait us in. We'll act like we're taking the bait. And I am the bait. I come out here, I enter the chaos, the other red sees what I'm doing and follows suit. I take a little bit of damage, so I retreat off to heal. I draw the host and the white Phantom with me. The other red has a 1v1, and I have a nice little 2v1 to manage. Seems like my idea has worked. I see that the gold Phantom is dead, and now it's a 2v2. and I get to go chase down the host and finally prove that the hand axe is worth something. So yes, it was a fairly big risk in order to run out there and try and bait the 2v1 and let my red friend fight the other guy, but it was worth the risk for the reward. Now, my soul level 60 character is more or less very similar to my soul level 91. They both use similar weapons, meaning the Zweihander and the hand axe. The Night Ring, in order to put me to 40 strength, can be swapped for the Estus Ring or the Cat Ring as needed, but I like to keep it on the Night Ring just for that little bit of extra damage. Now, in this clip, I'm actually using the Claymore, partially as a test, partially because I love greatswords and they're my favorite weapon class in this game. And yeah, I'm just checking it out, seeing what works and what doesn't. And yeah, I come in here, I see two guys, one sticking around as a statue. Start off with a nice little roll backstab, made me feel pretty good. Didn't quite get away from the old wolf greatsword. Old wolf greatsword. Get a second lovely backstab. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Make a big mistake and accidentally cue a second R1. Eat the weapon art, get a third backstab. Feels pretty good. Managed to escape and get a heal off. Managed to get a little bit more damage off, escape the weapon art, heal back up to full. And an excellent start to this invasion. Well, we're back at neutral, and I know I need to be careful. Blue gets summoned in, but at the time I didn't even really notice. I'm trying to focus on the host and kind of ignore the gold. And just keep him in on my screen so that I know where he is, and only swing once so that I don't have to dodge, so that I can dodge. Sorry, but the Phantom gets roll caught, and now it's a 2v1, and now the 2v1 is done, and now it's a 1v1. So now I'm testing out the hand axe well paired with the greatsword and checking the mix-up potential and things like that. But the second that Phantom died, a bizarre amount of latency started. Like, the recovery animation of that parry should not be that fast. So I'm trying to figure out exactly the latency and like what lag's going on here and stuff like that. Trying to make accommodations, and it just seems to get worse and worse. Like, seriously. Holy shit. But, yeah. The latency actually gives me a backstab there. Or lag, or whatever it is, his Wi-Fi. But it does deny me that roll catch. That should have been a roll catch. But, that's fine. I'm just trying to keep the pressure up. Punish him when I can. But, here comes the gold. A little early on the wake up for me. I back up and rebuff. And perhaps the previous backstabs made me a little overconfident, but I messed that one up. I unfortunately get poised on pretty heavily, and Phantom range running attack for the win. Now, what exactly did I do wrong there? Was there any one thing that you saw? Was it just that I played bad? Was it that I made a bad decision? I personally think that it was me staying one-handed when the Phantom came back. I think that I would have fared a little better if I had went to the two-handed greatsword. instead of trying to continue using the hand axe against two poised weapons. But in this invasion, we start off and we got ourselves a host with at least one phantom. I buff up. Managed to get a roll catch on the host and do a little bit of damage to the phantom. He can throw his knives all he likes. I don't use the sword ring on this character, so they don't bother me none. And we're just kind of feeling each other out for now. I drew him close enough in order to get the dragons angry, the wyverns technically, get roll caught, because I panic roll. Small mistake. Blue summon leg manages to save me from the Great Club somehow. And it's another Dragon Slayer Great Axe. I try and turn and burn with the Zweihander, it doesn't work. The second one does. Get away from the weapon art. This guy likes to throw throwing knives. That's fine with me. He can throw throwing knives at the Lothric Knights and get those guys involved. Sometimes all it takes is one opportunity. Gets crushed by a Zweihander fully charged R2, I guess. I couldn't even really tell where the host was. I got lucky. So we've talked at length about having a strategic idea and about figuring out what tactics that you can use in order to further that strategic idea. And one aspect of that we haven't really covered too much is the tools that you bring with you. Everything in your inventory is a tool. Your weapons, shields, parry tools, bombs, buffs, undead hunter charms, duelist charms, alluring skulls, throwing knives. Every single thing in your inventory is a tool. And what you bring with you should help you towards furthering your strategy. Now, in this invasion, the tools that I have with me, I have black fire bombs, I have human pine resin, I have undead hunter charms, and I have throwing knives, as well as the Zweihander, the axe, and my rings. I'm searching around for the host, and I don't really have a plan yet because I don't know what I'm up against. But now I know that I'm up against 3v1. And by the looks of them, it doesn't seem like they're dry fingered, so I'm probably not getting any backup. So I decide it's probably best to try and fight them straight up and down, see exactly what it is I'm dealing with before formulating my strategy. Now, normally I wouldn't do this, and I'm not playing aggressively. I'm mostly just... I'm playing very defensively, actually. I'm mostly relying on turn and burns, only attacking when I think it's safe to. I'm just trying to get a feel for them as I formulate my strategy. This guy's AFK. He gets backstabbed for it. But, pickaxe, straight sword and shield, and a great sword and shield. It isn't an easy thing to do in a 3v1, so I realized that I'm going to need some outside help. That I need to find some area of where the environment or the PvE can help me. And I realized that in the very next room, there's exactly that. So I head in and I get my black fire bombs ready, and I'm going to detonate these barrels. I try not to give away my plan too early, and I'm trying to throw my bombs directly at my opponents, but unfortunately my first attempt at it misses, and the hollows blow me up. A little bit of turn and burn here. Keep low health in order for my plan to work. Come over here. And down goes the White Phantom. Doesn't it feel good when a plan comes together? The hollows got attracted by the explosions. Did a little bit of damage to the host. Enough in order for me to pop his tears. So yeah, your tools need to work towards your strategic idea. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.